Hey everybody, welcome to the 3R show, the right, the wrong, and the random. I'm your host, Robyn Browning, and the 3R show is dedicated to talking about all things right, wrong, and random in the world of basketball. Now you know I don't like to do this alone, and if you have been watching, this is pretty much has been one of my favorite guests on here, and he's been on here a lot, and I had to bring him back. So here we are, St. Louis American reporter Palmer Alexander. Thanks for showing up again.
Uh, you know something, Robyn? That is one of the best introductions anybody has ever given me. And the day that I accept my first Emmy, I want you to give my speech.
Okay. That is not a problem. I love that type stuff. So just let me know. Give me a plane ticket, whatever we gotta do. If I gotta roll down there on foot or whatever, I'm there. So everybody, now you know
Yeah.
it's been a crazy
Right.
week. And what we're gonna do is we're not gonna start off with all that, what you're expecting. Okay, we're going to leave that alone for now. Let's get into the right here with the show. And Palmer, we're going to talk about, of course, the NBA playoffs. This has been something that really more exciting than it has been in a few years now. The first round series, even on the Eastern Conference side, which if we would have said this beginning of the year, nobody would have believed this, would they?
No, listen. The Washington Wizards, and I actually text my good friend Craig Black. Well, Craig Shields now.
Okay.
I sent him a text about the Wizards doing good, and then he hit me back. He said, I'm talking all that good stuff about Washington now, but, one of his favorite players on the team, Trevor Ariza, and he's that veteran guy. He has playoff experience. He has NBA Finals experience. You got a tough guy like Martin Gortat, who is battle tested. He's tough to come. They just got a really exciting team, I think, and them beating the Bulls 4-1, even though the Bulls were shorthanded. They sent a message to the league that they're that new team up on the rise.
Right. No one's really picked them, even in that series, to win. They figured it would just be the Washington Wizards got in, and they'll soon be gone because of inexperience and poor play toward the end, and everybody was still on Chicago, even though they did have somewhat of a great record toward the end of the season. Like you said, they are still playing shorthanded. They did not have an answer for John Wall and Trevor Ariza and others because they don't have a scorer. And this brings me to another point. And to the right, what do you think about Carmelo Anthony possibly going to Chicago next year?
If he makes if he becomes a Chicago Bull, you do have to consider them instant title contenders. However, with that said, you look at this Washington team. And even the Toronto Raptors, Brooklyn. There are some teams that are still there, but I do believe that if he does go to Chicago and if he becomes a better defensive player, Chicago is as much a threat as anybody. But I still see Chicago actually being a threat, even getting Derrick Rose back. But I think with Steve Kerr most likely taking the job to Knicks, he's going to most likely stay in New York, which would be a smart decision.
Okay, so you have him staying in New York and possibly going through. Well, do you think some would say it would be another tough season, non-winning season, but do you think with a new coach and Phil Jackson in there, that everybody would be renewed, because right now what we know, they just weren't great at all. They quit on the coach. And do you think that, especially for some of the players who haven't really improved their games, that all of a sudden they're going to get better next year, or is just be another, all right, losing season for the Knicks until they can make some moves with free agency and in the draft?
Well, unfortunately for the Knicks, I mean, I apologize for not having the cap numbers in front of me, but I mean, listen, they got Amari Stoudemire under salary. I believe Tyson Chandler has a still big salary. Andre Bargioni is still under contract, so they have to get rid of some of those big salaries. But when you have Phil Jackson in the front office, and then you bring a guy like Steve Kerr. And I'm telling you, Steve Kerr is one of the most intelligent people in all of basketball. He was an intelligent player, a fantastic analyst. I thought he did a great job with the Phoenix Suns when he worked in their front office. And
you think so? I think he did, but he aged himself a lot. I think he wore himself into the ground trying to be so great, and that's my only hesitation. Can he handle an 82-game season with these cast of characters?
I think he can, because the situation in Phoenix is, look who was the coach. It was Mike D'Antoni.
True.
Okay? No defense, and that was Phoenix's problem. It wasn't the offense; they had no problem scoring. They couldn't play any defense. Amari Stoudemire wasn't a great rebounder. He only played on one end of the floor. He was injury riddled. I mean, Steve Nash carried that team. So I think this is a different situation. If they can be able to get them I like that point guard. I like Armand Shumpert. He has a lot to offer. They got some pretty good ball handlers already on roster. So I think Steve Kerr is the right guy for the job, because he brings instant credibility.
All right. And moving and still staying in the Eastern Conference and getting back to our playoffs games. Of course we knew the Western Conference games were going to be tough and at least going 6 or 7 games. But with this on this East side, what do you think the Heat, Miami did right or are doing right that the other 1 and 2 seeds on the Western Conference have not figured out yet?
Well, listen, I mean, LeBron James, head and shoulders, is the best player in the NBA today. And he is really exerting his will. I mean, they just totally dispatched of Charlotte. But listen, Charlotte, they have a bright future.
Yeah.
They have a bright future. I thought that was a great move in the offseason, getting out Jefferson. Now they have a legitimate post player to put with, Walker. They got Henderson. They got a lot of young pieces. So I expect Charlotte to get a little bit better, but they were just totally overmatched by this well-seasoned Miami Heat team. I mean, Robyn, they've been to the finals the last 2 years. So they are well-seasoned, and they know exactly what they're doing.
Okay. Now, what do you feel about with last night's game, Oklahoma City and Memphis? Do you feel like Oklahoma City could possibly go down in this series?
Absolutely, because Memphis is the one team in the NBA that can beat anybody in a 7-game series, including the Miami Heat, because they're tough, they're rugged, they're nasty. They don't take a lot of threes. Mike Conley, he don't get enough credit because he's in the same conference with Chris Paul and Damian Lillard, but he is one of the best point guards in the NBA. He is very pragmatic with the ball. He doesn't turn the ball over. He takes great shots. He always gets everybody involved. And how about Zach Randolph? I mean, me and him have the same vertical jump, but he still is getting it done. And I mean, the Pulse, hey, let's face it, Robyn, they are tough. They are tough, and nobody likes playing them.
Yeah, I mean, with Mike Conley, you have really seen his development and improvement since he has gotten into the league, and now it's really coming together, and he has the right group around him in order to keep doing well because he didn't have the great jump shot when he first came into the league. He got better with that. His dribbling skills have gotten better. Just making decisions, period, as a point guard has gotten better every year. And Mark Gasol and Zach Randolph, we can put a paper under their feet how high they jump. But against the
but you're not getting them off the block.
Right, against the Thunder, they are overmatched. The Thunder are overmatched by those two players in the post, and they still haven't figured it out. So I'm wondering with you. So are we going to see Scott Brooks on the hot seat if they don't make it out of this first round?
Something, it could be a possibility, but then again, maybe it's not so much Scott Brooks' fault. Maybe it's the GM fault. I mean, how asinine is it to give away James Harden? That still is not registering with me because if you dispatch James, then Serge Ibaka needs to get more shots. I think he has a lot of skill on the offensive side of the ball. He has a nice shot. I don't know why they don't get. Oh, I know why, because Russell Westbrook used to. See, I almost went football. I'm thinking Russell Wilson. Russell Westbrook. I like him. I love watching him play. He has a lot of energy. I think he has a screw loose. But I mean, he had a double-double, but he was 10 for 31. You cannot win in the playoffs shooting that type of percentage, and you're playing right to the Grizzly hands for knowing that.
Right. Yeah. This basically, I wish folks, everybody watching, I wish we would tell you who's going to win and who's not going to win. The only thing I can see right now with who's going to put it away tonight is with the Houston-Portland series. Portland is pretty much taking control of that series and should be done. But otherwise, everything else is on that Western Conference side. It could go either way. So we'll keep watching. And the NBA playoffs, it has been back to the 80s, fantastic. And now I love this game. So we're going to give them a hand clap. Thanks for the first round entertainment. All right, now let's hurry up and we're going to get through this stuff here in the wrong. I want to talk about two things. It'll turn into the wrong, but into the right. And the first thing let's talk about is, the Clippers and Donald Sterling. And pretty much, Donald Sterling has sealed his face on the Mount Rushmore of bigots in sports. He's right up there with Marge Schott, Jimmy the Greek. Who else? That's just three. I need one more. One more bigot in Ty Cobb, maybe?
I mean John Rocket that he used to play. Yeah. I mean,
So he's up there now, and Adam Silver made his decisions yesterday in a press conference, and it's the right decision, unexpected, and they're going in the right direction. So, Palmer, tell me, where do you go? Where do the Clippers go now? You're an unabashed Clippers fan. As a fan, where do you go now with the team? And as an organization and the NBA, where do they go?
Well, I mean, as a longtime Clipper fan, going back to the early '90s when Ron Harper was traded for Steve Kerr. Okay, I've been a fan of the franchise, and I have. The only thing I've known of Don Sterling was that he was a piss poor owner. Mm-hmm. He was a cheap ass.
Yes.
And you saw that with the product. I mean, when listen, Larry Brown took them to back-to-back playoffs after they traded Doc Rivers for Mark Jackson. Look at the irony of that. Mark
Yeah.
Jackson took the Clippers to 2 straight playoffs, and what does he do? He doesn't keep Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson ended up going to the Pacers, and then the Pacers, they make that little run that they make. And same thing, he had Dominique Wilkins. He acquired Dominique Wilkins in the Danny Manning trade. You think Dominique's a Hall of Famer. They paired him with Ron Harper. They averaged 50 points a game together in the backcourt. What does he do? He lets Dominique walk. I mean, so there's a long lineage, Robyn, with Don Sterling. And I was so disturbed Saturday. I know we talked a little bit, and I was a little conflicted. And everybody knows I love the Clippers, and I love Golden State. But the Clippers come first. But I think Doc Rivers handled this situation with so much dignity and so much grace. I mean, how could I say, okay, I'm not dealing with them anymore? Because it's the players. The players play for themselves. And for those guys in the locker room, honestly, I would not. It would have taken everybody convincing me to at least even put my uniform on. But I'm so glad that not only Chris Paul and Kevin Johnson stood up, but LeBron James standing up. And I heard the other day on the radio, the guy said, why is LeBron James, taking his jersey off, taking the warm up off it? Why is he protesting? No, it's not about it. It's about the league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's about the brand of the league. And I felt a sense of pride that a lot of the young black players in the league, they stood up for a cause. They stood up and they made their voices heard, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them. But they have to, Robyn, they have to finish this out, though.
They do. Now, what I'm waiting for with the owners is how fast is this going to go? We can't have this lingering, and the Sterling's family is still in control of the team. I'm looking for them to fast track. I need a fast track. They need to be they don't need to be they don't need control of this team by the start of the next season. That just can't happen. There are plenty of people, billionaires, who are willing to take this team over, as we have seen on Twitter and on ESPN, all the way from Floyd Mayweather to Oprah. All of them have an interest. So, there's not there's a lot of people who want and who can. The owners themselves need to just get it going and start this process, because we can't just have it lingering. And if that's the case, I would be one frustrated player, and I want to protest some more. And with the new CBA, there would be some big changes.
I think that Roger Mason and Kevin Johnson, Adam Silver, they made it crystal clear that they're going to do everything in their power to get him out as fast as possible. Of course, he's going to contest it. But I think at the end of the day, they're going to do the right thing. I mean, Doc Rivers is the senior VP of basketball operations. He still has his job. He still has his title. But moving forward, if they don't want to risk losing a Chris Paul, a Blake Griffin, a DeAndre Jordan, if they don't want to risk losing that, they're going to have to make a move. And I believe something's going to get done very quickly, at least before the season starts again. Trust me.
Okay, I trust. Right now, we've known the NBA. They were pretty progressive, but to keep having, they knew that who this man was and what he's about, and especially with David Stern, you knew who he was and what he was about. You knew about the housing discrimination suit. You find him, and he was able to bargain that down, and he didn't really have to come out of his own pockets to pay that money to the league. So, now with a new new commissioner in town, younger, better ideas, probably more willing to not toe that line with him and other owners. I mean, there all these billionaires. You can't be nice to get into that area. All of them have probably done some shady stuff in their past, and as much as though now they're jumping on a bandwagon now, but come on, some of their practices are pretty suspect. I mean, even with Michael Jordan, the Jordan shoes are made over in Vietnam with pretty much slave labor. Over up in Cleveland with Quicken Loans and Dan Gilbert, you made a lot of money off of subprime loans, and how many folks, especially blacks, around America are swimming in debt and lost their homes to foreclosure? I mean, he was majorly involved in that, and that gets overlooked. But the way is the world, I guess. So with that, everybody,
well, I think that, and I'm sorry, Rob. I was getting interject. I was saying that Mike Golick, and I listened to him this morning. He made a great point that if the owners vote, and it's going to be a clean sweep. I see it being a 29-0 vote because just like he said this morning, who is going to be that 3 or 4 owners that's going to side with Donald Sterling and run the risk of losing millions of dollars in advertising, and then pretty much putting themselves in that position with Sterling? So you're going to support a bigoted owner? I mean, what message does that send? So I think he's gone, man. He's toast.
Yeah. Okay, so here we are with the NBA. We're watching you, okay? So, Adam Silver, good job so far, but we're watching and waiting. Next thing, everybody, another wrong subject that turned into the right. Now, something is rotten in the state of Columbia, Missouri. That's what it started out as, and now I don't know yet, but maybe it'll turn right. Help me out with this, Palmer. It first started out with former coach Frank Hayes taking the Tulsa job, and he's already leaving Mizzou to go and take the Tulsa job, and the situation around that was pretty murky, and now Mike Alden has hired on Kim Anderson recently, University of Central Missouri head coach, just won a Division II title, former Mizzou player and assistant coach under Norm Stewart. What happened in all of that mess? And is there somebody I can look at to blame? Is it Alden? What happened here? Did Frank Hayes see that, man, I'm not recruiting, let me get up out of here? Or did he see that hammer coming down and he took off?
Wow, I can't believe you put it up here on the tee for me this nicely, Robyn, and I appreciate it. It's like an early birthday gift. I mean, Mike Alden is an absolute moron. He is an absolute moron. How he was able to keep his job this long, I know why, because of Gary Pinkel. Because he would have been fired a long time ago. Mm-hmm. But when you go back, okay, when he hired Quinn Snyder, okay, yes. I loved it. Everybody loved it.
Right.
The fan base, the alumni loved it. And it didn't work out. I mean, when you get your ass kicked by Illinois, okay, that's the game. See, that's the game people don't realize. That's how you're gonna know what's gonna happen with the Mizzou basketball program when they get the ass kicked by Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay, that lets you know where they're gonna go. Now, mistake number one: Mike Alden should have never hired Frank Hayes in the first place due to his track record. Listen, I'm black, you can see that. She's black, you can see that. That does not necessarily mean they're the most qualified for the job. Frank Hayes came to Mizzou with baggage. Okay, Mike Alden thought about the baggage, didn't know what to do with it. Okay, so now Frank Hayes, he gives Frank Hayes, well, you need to be in a, you need to make the tournament or else. Well, first of all, if you didn't hire him in the first place, you wouldn't be in this damn situation. The other thing is that Kim Anderson was the smart choice to begin with. He should have been Norm Stewart's success in the first place because, one, listen, you can definitely bet on this, that Mizzou would have played a lot better defense. They would have been a little bit more tenacious. They would have had some sort of continuity going on. Frank Hayes was not a good coach. They didn't play defense worth a damn. They played too much one-on-one basketball. They had no tenacity on defense. There was no transition points. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get nothing going. You had Jabari, whoever, Jabari Jones,
Jabari Brown,
whatever his name is. I'm sorry, I forgot the guy. Jabari Brown.
You know what?
Jabari Brown, and then Jordan Clarkson.
Right. He's not the real. He's not the other Jabari that we wish we could have, Jabari Parker, that we could have lived with. But I mean, like you said, it was so.
Yeah, I mean, at least we would have had him for one season.
Exactly. And that brings up another thing, though, Palmer, that his inability to recruit showed up a lot in this season, and really into next season. You know, there's players leaving. The controversy with the player who had the DUI and everything that smoking marijuana or something like that, who was arrested. So that comes into question too. Like, how could you hire somebody and you know he can't really recruit? What is he doing here? And he's not really an X and O coach. So
yeah, you're right. I mean, listen, it was just frustrating. I mean, I literally had a hard time watching Mizzou basketball because the way they played, it did not look like Mizzou basketball. I'm used to seeing defense. I'm used to seeing them force turnovers. I'm used to seeing them getting points in transitions, guys breaking out, but they played selfish basketball. Nobody looked out for each other. You got Tony Criswell jacking three-pointers. You know he can't shoot threes worth a damn, but he's letting them shoot the threes. But you know what? Let's take it back. Let's take it back 2 years ago. You know when you found out Frank Hayes, when they moved to Norfolk State, that was the loss that did him in. I promise you. That loss was the beginning of the end. You see, when you do not have any kind of defensive principles, you are begging. You are begging for defeat. And I got so tired of people telling me, have faith in Hayes. Give him a chance. Okay, he has transfers. I understand that, Robyn. You know this. You can't. Defense never goes into a slump.
Yeah.
I've never gone to a slump. And that was the problem. But I know one thing for sure. With Kim Anderson, they will play better defense and they will get better.
What is the first thing you think he should do, Kim Anderson, as head coach of Mizzou?
I mean, the first thing is, once he gets his, first of all, meet with the players. Talk with the players. Let them know, listen, this is how we're going to play basketball. Get familiar with them, get to know them and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But Robyn, it is simple. It is simple, okay? First and foremost, whenever you're a new coach and you don't really know your personnel like you should, the one thing you can't count on is that you got to at least know how to play defense.
Yeah.
You got to at least know how to play defense. You got to at least want to listen, I love JT Tiller. Remember JT Tiller that played point guard? He was a tough SOB. He got in your face. He was disruptive. I mean, it wasn't pretty, but that's what you need. And Mizzou don't have those grit guys, those tough guys. And I really thought that with them going to the SEC, they'd be a little bit better in basketball. And unfortunately, they have taken a step back.
Exactly. I mean, we knew when it was announced that they were going to go to the SEC. I think everybody jumped for joy and that look, we're not going. All we have to do is beat Florida. That was the only thing you only have. Whereas in the Big 12, you have to worry about Kansas and Texas sometimes, and adding on an
And
and
Baylor,
and
jump,
Baylor.
Baylor jumping up in the mix.
Right, you X that out, and you only have really one team that is like that in Kentucky, where you're like, okay, we can probably do this. And no, it just hasn't happened. And the whole thing with Mizzou basketball, like you were saying, they lost that defensive spark that they have always had and what has carried them. Now I hope that Kim Anderson can be able to recruit from the Missouri, Illinois area, which has been lacking a lot. And maybe even, like you said, bringing a tough junior college player or somebody who a young man who probably would be playing in Division II, but maybe Kim Anderson can see something else and he could be a Division I player and add that be a good role player or be a star, but nobody would have expected it because, of course, everybody thinks that these 5-star players who go into Jordan camps and the Nike camps and the blah, blah, blah camps and the ABCD camp and the Adidas camp and whoever, that they are the best when sometimes it doesn't even work out that way. So maybe he can find many diamonds in the rough that we don't know about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just think that, I mean, just keep it simple. I mean, if he keep it simple, and after a while, he can really implement his game plan. But I think that for in the long haul, having Kim Madison, it is more than just putting a Band-Aid on it. It's stitching up the wound. You know what I'm saying? It's stitching up that wound, that gash that was left by Frank Hayes, the other gash left by Mike Anderson, the other gash left by Quinn Snyder, all of that. I believe that maybe Kim Anderson may be that guy that can be able to, help soothe the wounds. I mean, they needed to hire Kim Anderson. That it took 3 coaches later for that to happen.
Yeah. So here we are, everybody. A wrong turned into a right. Mizzou hires Kim Anderson as coach. It took a long time, but there we are. Now, Palmer, quickly, I want to stay in the wrong, and we're going to talk about, okay, this may turn into a 30 for 30 story. The Pacers. What is happening with this team? It's I don't. Is it the stripper? Is it the catfishing? Is it Roy Hibbert has lost his way? What? How did this? I can't even ask the question. It's just so bad. I think this might just turn. Will this be number one? Will this be the Will this be the biggest fail by a number 1 seed in NBA history?
Most likely, yeah. I would say off the top of my head, the Indiana Pacers, they are a fraud. They look the part of a number 1, but they are not. And I think there's something else going on with Roy Hibbert. You don't go from averaging, I don't know, 14, 15, 17 points a game to
doing a double-double,
being a non-factor. I mean, a absolute non-factor. But I think, yeah, and I think, but one of the Pacers' biggest problems is they lack a true point guard. I like Lance Stevenson. He is he's electric. But you know what? His jump shot is suspect. You can leave him out there. I think if you leave him out there, kind of like he doesn't know what he's getting ready to do. Paul George is kind of up and down. If he was a little bit more consistent, maybe he can actually be in the top running. You know what I'm saying, for an MVP. But the thing that I'm gathering out of this series, watching it, how about Gerald? I mean, a guy that played in Mizzou, he was a scrappy player at Mizzou, but he brought that same thing to Atlanta, added a three-point jump shot. I know they don't run no plays for him,
Yeah.
but he's making some things happen. And listen, Atlanta got hit by the injury bug as well. I mean, they lost Al Horford, who is probably one of the best. Yeah, he's one of the best big men in the game. But they got great play out of point guard with Jeff Teague, and that's the difference. Robyn.
Yes.
That's the big difference is the point guard play. Teague, people forget about Teague. You think about Chris Paul, you think about Damian Lillard. I mean, and we talked about Mike Conley, but Jeff Teague, I mean, he's one of the best guards in the NBA. He's a top 5 point guard in my opinion.
He is a guard that he takes no prisoners. He's going to go out there and do what he can to help his team win on offense and defense. So with that being said, they're always going to be in it, and we both know that point guard play is a must in the NBA in the playoffs. So we know now that Indiana doesn't have it and that Atlanta does, and for a team that really wasn't even wanting to be wasn't trying to get into the playoffs, well, they're doing a damn good job right now. So, we're going to set up the wrong for the Pacers. And I don't know, maybe they can turn it around, but I don't know. They shouldn't be. Number one, they just shouldn't be here at this point right now. So moving on.
Let's get a new coach.
Let's keep it down to the random. I'm gonna go to you, man. You gotta help me out. I don't know what to think about this NFL draft. I'm so confused. It keeps changing from day to day. Johnny Football, is he going to Dallas? Is he going to Houston? Tell me, and even too, sometimes hearing, where is, oh gosh, I don't know, who keeps going Mack and Khalil Mack going up and down? I don't know. Help me understand, especially with the Rams, since we are in St. Louis. Are they still looking at?
Oh my goodness, Robyn! I'll tell you what though.
Will the Rams trade down, or are they going to keep
in 7 days?
Okay. Are the Rams possibly? Will they trade?
You know what? I don't. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna lay it down for you. Okay. Think about this. 1 week from now, at this time, I'm really beside myself, like a real rabbit. I'm gonna be all over the place, and hurling expletives all over the place. And I honestly think, and I actually wrote about this. I think that what's going to end up happening is Houston is going to take Clowney. And then that's going to give the Rams a choice from either Greg Robinson or Sammy Watkins. And my personal opinion, it's a win-win, but the Rams need to get more vertical, and I think they're going to take Sammy Watkins. If not, they definitely can find the right trade partner, Robyn. But it would have to be a team that really wants Sammy Watkins. But if not, the Rams can easily take him. The Rams have 12 picks in this draft.
Wow.
And we just scratched the surface. We're just talking about pick number 1, not even pick number 13. So I don't want to, throw in more stuff because I need you on this basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I think what the Rams going to do, I think they're going to take Sammy Watkins. If they were smart, they'd take my advice and take Sammy Watkins.
Now, I'm just pissed off about the whole Teddy Bridgewater situation. First high, now low. I mean, just that type of stuff infuriates me with these draft analysts and experts that week one he was great. You saw something, and then week 15 or whatever, or on the sixth day of the combine, you're like, something I saw, some itty bitty tiny thing, and he's garbage. You, I, anyways, let me get off of them because I'm about to get it.
Wait, help you with that one. Let me help you with that one.
Okay.
Okay. Teddy Bridgewater actually, once the draft concluded, okay, and they all do who you think will be that next guy. 1 year ago, Mel Kiper and Todd McShay, first name out of their mouth was Teddy Bridgewater.
Mm-hmm.
They brought attention to Teddy Bridgewater, and he screwed up during his NFL pro day at his college. The thing about it, Robyn, just think about it. Okay, you're going to try out for the NBA. You're going to have your pro day. So you're going to make sure you do it inside of a place where you shoot the ball the best. Everything is working. The place where you're comfortable. He had his pro day, and he totally screwed it up. He just wasn't on mark, and he's continuing to keep sliding out. I think he's a good quarterback. There are a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft, and I know a lot of people say, the Rams need to get a quarterback. They need to get a black quarterback. Listen, they ain't playing right now. Well, not right now, but the way they've been playing, they just need somebody that's competent and be able to get the job done. And that's the NFL for you, Robyn. I mean, one day you're hot, one day you're not. You know what I'm saying? But Jadeveon Clowney, ever since he knocked that player's helmet off in 2012, he's been everybody's mouth ever since.
Okay. All right. So I'll go into next week. This time next week, still confused, but hey, that's the NFL draft. Gotta love it. And one more thing on the random. Hey everybody, summer is coming up, and with this controversy with Donald Sterling, it has me wondering. Summertime is about kicking back and catching up on stuff. And I'm a reader, so I'm wondering if you all would be interested in doing a summer book club. So the first thing I would want to start out with is $40 Million Slaves by Bill Rhoden, excellent sports writer from the New York Times. I think it is the first book to read to get a basis on the black athlete, and let's try to read that and talk about it later, whether it's on Twitter or on here. So please pick it up. Let me know if you did. And you can reach me here at Robyn Bird Fly. Again, it is $40 Million Slaves. And the author is William Rhoden, Rhoden. So get the book. Maybe we'll catch up in about a month and have a discussion. So, with that, that is all for today. Thanks for watching. Palmer, thanks for joining me again. Always a pleasure.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me into your home. That's the thing people don't realize when, you send an invitation out, you invite me to your home, so I appreciate you inviting me into your home. And again, thank you for such a great intro. I really, really appreciate it.
Not a problem. And everybody, don't forget to pick up The American or read it online, and you can catch Palmer's articles in there. And you can always go back. He's also is on Red Cups on the Sideline on YouTube. Catch up with him there as well. So that is all for today. And follow us on Twitter. I'm at Robyn Bird Fly. He's at The Legend Kill, 1L in Kill. And for me, Robyn Bird Fly, Robyn with a Y. And that is all for today. And until then, see you and keep hooping.